Welcome
to Film Shapes,
the podcast.
You're the boy, aren't you? The boy whose mother was killed.
Hello, listener. On this episode of Film Shapes, we're going to talk about The Goldfinch, directed by John Crowley and starring Ansel Elgort, Nicole Kidman, and Jeffrey Wright. But first, let's say hello to Rolly.
Hello.
Hello, and to Ben. How's it going?
Good, very well. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. So, guys, it's a kind of a grief crime drama, I suppose, and it's based on the Pulitzer Prize-winning novel by Donna Tartt. What did you guys think of this? Rolly, let's have a crack.
All right, I'm going to put it out there that this is actually a really good film.
Okay.
I think like a very good film, but I'm in a bit of a pickle because I'm not sure why, and I'm not sure if I've got the filmy skills to analyze why. So I'm hoping that you can tell me.
Why it's a good film?
Yeah.
In that case, let's go over to Ben.
Good film, didn't you?
Ben, okay,
I'm gonna say that this one was this was a real 2-bottle of wine movie for me.
Oh,
meaning?
Meaning that I polished off 2 bottles of wine while watching it because it wasn't doing it for me otherwise.
You needed some sort of lubrication. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, so yeah, I mean, I do think there is a lot of like very good stuff about the film. Like, I think there's some excellent performances. The cinematography, like Roger Deakins is one of the greatest working cinematographers, and it was beautifully shot. I don't know. I felt like there was something hollow about it, and I just didn't feel engaged. I think also as well, and this is a problem I had with reading Donna Tartt's earlier book, The Secret History. It's a film that's like ensconced in this world of privilege, and it kind of, I found that kind of off-putting. The fetishization of art and privilege and all those kinds of things just kind of rankled me a bit.
Oh, well, then that's probably the reason Rolly loved it, because he's ensconced in that world himself.
I did find myself thinking Great Expectations at some point.
Okay.
Because where the kid came from, where he had the stepmom. I mean, they were a weird family.
Yes.
The stepmother sort of took him in after this horrible accident, or we'll call it. We can say it's a bombing, can't we? I mean, that's the.
Yeah.
Hang on, stepmother. You're talking about the brassy woman from Las
sorry,
Vegas?
not the stepmother. Well, she was the foster.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah,
type
Nicole
mother.
Kidman.
Nicole Kidman.
Gotcha. Yeah.
They were just a weird family.
Yes.
I read one
Very
review
weird,
that described
very
their
rich.
house as a wasp's nest,
Right. Yes.
which I thought was a good bit of wordplay.
Yeah.
But but the kid ended up, in a much lower class situation when he was living with his dad, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Who I actually thought was Owen Wilson.
It's his brother, isn't it?
Yeah, Luke
Yeah,
Wilson.
it's his brother.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't even know he had a brother.
Oh, there he is. Yeah.
And
Well,
I
did
thought,
you-
oh,
what
He's
did-
been in
Did you
I actually,
a lot of
think
movies.
there was a... yes, isn't he? Do you think that you could spot from that? Is that what you mean? Like, he looked like Owen Wilson? Oh, really?
totally, and the way he spoke and everything. I think I've always maybe thought they were the same person in all these films.
Man, the Royal
Okay.
Tenenbaums must have been very
And I've-
confusing for you.
Yeah. He's doing...
Well, it was a long time ago that I saw that.
Yeah. Yeah, so, okay. So, so you're still having trouble realizing... working out why you like it.
I can't work out why. There wasn't necessarily anything I didn't like about it. I just think it had a certain mood to it.
Yes.
Throughout the film, which I think was consistent throughout the whole film, and it just felt like
but
like the whole film, like it felt like a bigger world that wasn't in the film existed.
Ben, you said you'd read one of her books. Did you read this one?
No, I didn't. I actually didn't finish The Secret History. I think I got like 5 chapters into it and was like, ugh, enough of these terrible people.
Really? Okay, right. Yeah, I guess that they had some trouble adapting the book. I take it the book was a bit denser.
Well, it's like 800 pages. It's a big tome.
Yeah. But so I don't know. It seemed like Rolly, you're saying it was consistent, but I don't think it was. I think probably towards the end it turned into a bit of an Ocean's 15 or something.
The last 25 minutes of this movie is insane.
Yeah,
it did really.
Yeah, what the fuck? What's going on there? I mean, no, I
it kind of picked up though.
Yeah,
it did got a bit more exciting. A little bit of a little bit more crimey at the end. I mean,
like if that's in the book,
they couldn't get into that when they were 13.
Yeah, I know. I mean, but if that's within the book, it's just I don't know. Maybe she dealt with that a bit better in the book, but it wasn't dealt with well in this film. I think.
Can I ask? Obviously, this is a very spoilery question. How did you guys interpret the ending? Like, do you think the painting actually was recovered? Do you think that was real, or do you think he died and it was a hallucination?
Oh, you're suggesting there's even more depth to it, but I took it literally to mean.
Yeah, well, see, the thing that twigged for me was the fact that, like, once Boris comes back and is like describing how the art authorities like found this guy who had the painting, and then they found all these other paintings, and they even found a Rembrandt, and then like the next shot cuts back to like the flashback to the art gallery where him and his mother are looking at the Anatomy Lesson by Rembrandt, which is a painting that like comes up several times in the film, and so to me, I interpreted that as being.
He's pegged it.
Yeah, basically he was having a hallucination and he's like bringing all these things into it and he's having this idealized version of how things could have worked out.
So you figure he's died?
Yeah.
At the end?
Yeah.
I just figured because he was telling his mate early on that his mum wouldn't come back to him or he couldn't see it. Remember he was always seeing the back of her head and stuff throughout the film in the flashbacks? I just figured that he'd come to a reckoning or a resolution, which meant that finally he could, I don't know, resolve things with the thought of her or something like that. I don't know. I didn't think he died, but yeah, maybe it's the same thing. Maybe he met her again in his visions because he was dead. So,
yeah. See, to me, it had the kind of vibe of like Taxi Driver, where like the ending is like, oh, everything works out so perfectly, like too perfectly. It's like it's. I think it's meant to give a feeling of like this can't be real, but I don't know. Maybe I was just reading too much into it.
Hang on. Oh, what are you suggesting? Taxi Driver's not how it. What? Oh, I'll have to talk to you about that later, Ben. That's blowing my mind a little bit. Rolly, what did you reckon there at the end?
Yeah, well, as I said, I took it more literally. But, I liked it. I think it kind of, obviously, it does wrap up in quite a interestingly perfect way, which would lead you to maybe question some of that. But then you remember that it's a film and that it's possible for things to work out this way. So it becomes a bit of a allegory. Maybe it's a bit of more of a moral sort of story at the end about fate and destiny.
Yeah.
And I like the Boris's quote there about the weather system. It's like a big weather system. We're all just getting blown around inside it. I'm not sure. I'm sure if that's probably from the book, but yeah, I thought that's kind of how I felt about the whole film. In a way, it was there was a lot going on that maybe isn't supposed to be planned as a plot, but things just fall in their place quite naturally. And for the most part, I think that's where it was successful in doing that. But then, as Ben says, maybe at the end there is cause for question about it.
Well, I suppose maybe a hint to what actually happened at the end is why did he take the picture in the first place? The Goldfinch.
Oh, Boris or the kid?
The kid. I can't remember his name. Theo, is that his name?
Well, I think when you're that age and old man and you've got a bit of shell shock and an old man tells you to do something, you do it.
Yeah, okay. And then why did he keep it and not give it back to the authorities?
Well, because there was the last vestige he had of his life before. Well, in a way, like it's the thing that links the two halves
Yeah.
of his life, like before the bombing and afterwards.
And
Yeah.
also his mother.
That's right. I had a feeling that it was just like you. This fucking museum took my mum. I'm going to take something of theirs. Then I thought that he was just holding on to it for that reason. I
But
don't
wasn't. But also, it was the painting that she'd brought him there to see. So it was.
We
a
found that
part of
out.
her
Yeah,
that
that's right.
That
Yeah.
he could keep.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah. So in that case, is it a happy ending that the cops or whoever the authorities have the painting back? He doesn't.
Well, he doesn't have to deal with the moral wrong of having it anymore, so it sort of works out perfectly.
I mean,
And,
let's not forget that this is the guy that sold loads of things for the Jeffrey Wright's character as the real thing, but they're actually fakes. I don't think he's
But
too
what's the real
morally
crime there?
censored.
He's just ripping off some rich people. That's fine.
Yeah.
Right. But of course, Hobie didn't agree with that, right? He's trying to bring him up a different way, I suppose. So, yeah.
Yeah, what about, sorry, what was the character's name in the antique shop?
Hobie.
That was Hobie?
Yeah.
Yeah, what did you think of his character?
Well, I've got a problem with all the performances in this film. And I don't think they're bad. I just think they're very mannered. And there's lots of these very, wistful looks and enigmatic smiles. And everyone's
Isn't
a
your
little...
life like that?
Well, yeah.
I mean...
But I want different things when I watch a movie. Don't you think it was
This
just
is why you take watching movies seriously.
Yes, that's right. I just thought it was all very. It wasn't any real emotion or any sort of reality. But who knows? Maybe, like Ben said, that world is quite foreign to me anyway. So maybe they're all acting like this. Oh, you can sit over there, Theo. Thank you, Theo.
And I think as well that world is sort of meant to have a kind of emotional distance to it. I mean, that's kind of one of the stereotypes about waspy kinds of echelons of society is that they keep everything very repressed, and that like how Nicole Kidman, like early on in the film, gives him the bottle of sleeping pills, and it's like, have these and you won't have to like have nightmares anymore.
Right.
And that's part of, I guess, the process of him becoming a drug addict.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, I don't know. That's part of the film that sort of kept me a little bit underwhelmed by it. I mean, so I think there was it was a good pace to it, all that kind of, well, except the ending, I think. But I don't know, it just it didn't grab me. That's all.
It does set up that a strange kind of alternative reality which you have to accept in order to engage with the film, I think. And if you don't fully do that at some point, then you're never quite in there. But I don't know. I just felt I got into the mode of it, and I was with it.
Oh, that's good.
And I wasn't looking at the timeline bar too much.
That's
it was
great.
Just,
Too much though. At least you had one peak.
Just a couple of times.
It looked. I mean, there were some scenes like that. Go on, Ben.
Oh, sorry. It's interesting, Rolly, how you said earlier that you are not actually sure why you liked this film. I'm actually kind of not sure why I didn't like this film. Like, as I'm talking about it, I'm like, oh yeah, that kind of worked on this symbolic level, and like this bit of, and like I'm actually kind of like appreciative of the things the film was doing and how it was constructed. But at the same time, as I was watching it, I was like, fuck this.
Right.
It's funny, yeah. 'Cause for me, like, I finished it and went, wow. Oh, okay. Wow. I wonder what people are saying about it. And I went on Rotten Tomatoes, and it had something like 24% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah,
I thought,
it's not well liked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just in the other camp that actually thinks it something, I don't know, something about this just felt very smooth to me.
Smooth. That's a good word for it, I think.
It was smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like you're saying about Deakins. I mean, some of those shots were fantastic, but they not necessarily. I mean, he seemed to have found really lovely looking shots from pretty prosaic stuff, like that shop when he's downstairs in that antique shop, and there's just a scene where I think Theo's standing on the left and Hobie's in the background on the right, just really well blocked and well set up, really good stuff. So, I mean, deacons can pretty much do anything now, I think. But also soundtrack, pretty good, I thought. Did you guys find that as well?
Oh yeah, a couple of
I
good
thought
Radiohead needle drops.
Yeah.
I thought it was a Beck song coming in, and then
Yes.
realised, it was the sample, wasn't it? That
Yeah.
Beck must have lifted off. And I'm
Yep.
not even sure. I meant to look it up.
It's
But
it's a
Baby
song.
Blue, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's all over now, Baby Blue. But Dylan wrote it, I think. But that was a Van Morrison with Them covered it, and that was the song they used in that.
So
Yeah.
that was the Van Morrison
Yes.
version?
Yeah.
Was
So,
it?
yeah.
Ah,
Them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was that was really good. I remember when that started in the film, I thought, oh, this sounds like the Stones. What the hell's this? I've heard this before. But yeah, you're right. I was thinking of is it Jackass on the Odelay album, the Beck song? I was just thinking of that Beck song. Yeah. So,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
But yeah, that was around. Was that playing at the point when he left home, or he left his?
Yeah, he took the dog and left Las Vegas to go
Oh,
back
that was
back to
after
New York.
the dad was no more. But
Yeah.
yeah, also that scene where the dad, like, I thought it was a really good scene where the dad's asking him to call up the lawyer for the
Yeah.
money.
I think that's the most angry I've ever
And
seen Luke Wilson in a movie.
It was good. Like
Yeah.
that was a really, and the kid just gets out of there and he's just running down the street, even though there was, like he wasn't being chased or anything like that. But yeah, I just felt that it was good.
Yeah, that was a pretty good scene actually. Yeah.
Also, what a
that
nightmare
whole-
of an idea to take LSD and then find out your dad's died. Like the worst
And he
possible
starts
timing.
laughing. He's laughing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know. That whole maybe it was the look of Las Vegas and the Boris character. I didn't like that whole section. I didn't really find much going on there, to be honest. I like the New York stuff a bit better, I think.
I think there were so many little things in it like that, though, that it just seemed to all add up to more than the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
As well.
Okay.
For me,
yeah.
and obviously not for you, but
No, I don't. I mean, I didn't hate it. I was engaged throughout, but I don't think it. I reckon all the parts didn't add up. So yeah, especially at the end. I mean, that was it seemed tagged on at the end. Like, let's do something to wrap this up. Let's go to the Amsterdam.
Amsterdam.
Yeah. Or they could have fleshed it out.
And the fact that
there
there
was
was
longer that bit, but
there was a number of like plot contrivances that just relied on like where he runs into Platt on the street and he recognizes him despite the fact that he looks completely different. And then also, runs into Boris completely at random by just going into a bar.
Right. Now that sounds if you wrote that in a script at university, you'd be fucking kicked out, you know. What are you doing here? Look at this. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is why the film is about fate and destiny, and you know, it's painting it in a little too high contrast, but that's what the film is about as well, as these strange little coincidences.
Surely those little connections weren't in the book. There must have been other ways that they got to that in the book. Otherwise, she's won a Pulitzer Prize for that kind of nonsense. You know, I mean, I'd have to read the book first.
I mean, the book won the Pulitzer, but it was pretty contentiously reviewed. Like a lot of people, panned it.
Oh, really?
As a novel as well. Yeah.
Okay. Now, just before we wrap this up, the lead, Ansel Elgort. What do you think of this guy? Now, he's had some, as Ben mentioned, he's had some trouble recently on, you know.
Yeah, well, I was
have you heard about this?
I was reading about the film after I watched it, and then came across all these articles about Ansel Elgort. In the last week, or I think a week ago, was accused by a former partner who at the time was 17 of having been raped by him.
Right.
And he, I think, it released a statement saying that the two of them had a consensual relationship at the time, and that he essentially kind of ghosted her, and he was assuming that he had hurt her feelings, and that's why she was making this accusation against him, which kind of seems like he's trying to like show humility, but
Yeah.
also discredit her at the same time,
Yeah,
which seems pretty shitty.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. No, I've got no idea about any of that, but maybe his performance in this was a little on the wooden side, but
Yeah.
that was kind of his character based on his upbringing as well. So
Yeah, it works with wood. Works as wood.
it,
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't. I think he's pretty like when we. I think Baby Driver was our first podcast for this, wasn't it, Rolly?
it was very early
think
on.
it
If
was,
it wasn't
yeah.
the first,
Now in that film, both the leads I thought were just charisma vacuums. I didn't think they had anything going for them, and in this, I mean, it's the same. He's just. I'd forgotten what he looked like straight after watching it. Just I don't know. He just didn't. He doesn't have it. I mean, and maybe he's a complete prick in real life as well, but in the film, I don't know. Is he going to be a big star? Maybe not now.
Probably not now.
Yeah. But yeah, and we were wondering, what can we say about this? Is it okay to even talk about this? I guess, but
the controversy.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, I mean, what a value to say about it have we got? I mean, we don't know what happened.
Yeah, that's right. We're out.
Or,
we're completely outside it. But is that? Do you think like going to see a film with a dude who's had this mud slung at him, true or not?
Oh, okay.
Is
like
that,
a Kevin Spacey kind of.
Yeah, even Woody Allen, I suppose, as well. I mean, is there? Even though Allen's a little different, I suppose.
I feel like I would, when it comes to this sort of thing, I may be not encouraged to go and see a new release film from Kevin Spacey just because it kind of, just feels a bit icky. But hey, it doesn't stop me loving some of his previous work.
Yeah, that's
watching
the thing.
it again
But
and appreciating it.
You watch it with a different eye, though, or?
I've got to say that I've kind of like people like Woody Allen and like all these figures. Louis C.K. used to be one of my favorite comedians, and like I've kind of just not even really consciously. I just have found it relatively easy just to not engage with any of their work anymore. And
okay.
I understand that people have an objection to that in terms of letting the art speak for itself or whatever. But I mean, yeah, I don't feel compelled to engage with their work. There's more stuff out there to watch than I'll ever get through in my life. So it's like it's not that hard for me to make a different choice, I guess.
Yeah, but no, okay. So, Rolly, you're pretty up on this whole film in general. Ben, not so.
Yeah,
and I guess I came down probably middle. Yeah. Would you see another John Crowley film, guys? He's the director.
I've heard Brooklyn's good, but I haven't seen any of his other work.
Yeah, I watched Closed Circuit, which was functional. Eric Banner and Rebecca Hall. It's about sort of CCTV bombings and stuff like that. It was okay.
That's not a good. It was a functional film.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Not a good review.
Intermission was pretty good. It's an Irish. I think it's one of his first films made in Ireland with Cillian Murphy and Colin Farrell and Kelly MacDonald. It's interesting. So I think he's got something. Yeah, but let's see what he does next, I guess.
Yeah, I'm just glad I got to learn that Luke and Owen Wilson were different people.
Right, that's very important.
Yeah.
Also, that poor fucker. What was his name? Fabricius, the painter of the Goldfinch. Did you read about this? 32 years old. He was going to be a champion artist, and maybe already is. But some fucker opened a door of a gunpowder storage area and blew half the city apart in Delft, in Holland.
Wow, so that was all true story. That
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Poor bastard. That was a long time ago, 1650 something. So anyway.
Wow.
Well, guys, thanks for coming along today to chat about the Goldfinch. We'll see you next time.
It was a bit of fun. See ya.
Cheers.
See ya.
Bye.
We all feel afraid sometimes.
never know what's going to decide your future.
Welcome.
Oh shit! Sorry.
It's not hard, Ben.
Sorry, I got a message and I was distracted for a second. All right, let's take that again.